Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Trash or Treasure podcast. It's our second one this time, and once again, joining me is my younger sister, Diana, from Otama Workshop.
Hello.
And the first one we did, if you probably recall, was back in 2023 when we did the Super Mario Brothers movie, the Illumination one. That feels like it only just came out last week. It's hard to believe it's already been nearly 2 years. Well, close to anyway. But yes, we're here today to talk about the Switch 2. It has just been announced.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes, Electric Boogaloo. It has just been announced as of Thursday, January 16th, 2025. So far, no release date yet, but we'll go a little more into that. We're just basically going to be giving our early thoughts on the Switch 2 and some predictions, maybe. Some stuff we'd like to see, some stuff we'd maybe like to see changed from the Switch 1. But first, before we go into that, how are you, Diana?
I'm doing alright. I'm very busy. Very busy with uni. Hence, no streams, everybody.
Yes.
There's so few streams because I'm always busy.
Yes, I should actually say that's just reminded me, actually. I was meant to do a stream of Tomb Raider Golden Mask, like the second part of it, but yeah, I caught a cold this past week, unfortunately, and I was off. I've been off work all day too, so God currently hates me for some reason. I don't know what I did, but he hates me. But yeah, I'm back at work tomorrow after this, unfortunately. Oh well, I mean, I didn't get to think about work for a week. I'm happy about that. It's just a shame that I had to be sick from the whole thing. But yes, you were also talking to us about like watching Squid Game season 2. How was that?
Oh, very good. I really liked it. As a trans person, I quite like the trans character, even though it is played by a cis man. Director has come out and explained kind of why they had to go that way. It sounds like it's pretty dangerous to be trans in South Korea, so they couldn't really find anybody willing to kill their career.
So how do they get around that in the show then?
It's literally in South Korea, it's kind of a career killer to be trans, apparently, from what the director has said and what research that people have done online. And so they got a cis man to play the trans woman. The person playing the trans woman is not in fact trans. It is is just a cis man. But he does a very good job of it. He kind of gets a lot of the thoughts and feelings down very well, and there's some specific looks they give that does a very good job. And I felt they did it. I thought they represented us well. But
do you know if they have any like transgender relatives or anything?
Not that I know of, but I haven't really looked into it too closely. Just what after the initial kind of, I guess, news of it broke, the initial like, what the hell? It's not a trans woman. There was a movie years ago that was trying to get made, and they originally tried to cast Scarlett Johansson as the trans lead.
Oh no!
As a trans woman. And it was a bit like, come on, guys. You could you have a plethora of trans actresses you could pick from. Whereas this one, there's at least some justification of, well, it's a bit dangerous from the sounds of it, and B, he apparently tried to find people, or so he says at the very least, and couldn't find anybody to do the part, I guess. So it's just a bit of a shame that we couldn't have an actual trans woman playing the part, but what we got was very well done, and the character was going against what Netflix's nature made them not just a token trans character. They actually had more personality beyond that. Yeah. A lot of times with Netflix, they kind of just say, like, make being trans their whole personality, but this character did have a lot of personality outside of being trans, which is very nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen the second season of Squid Game yet because I was thinking it was going to be like a family get-together type thing and we were going to watch it, but yeah, so far nothing's happened. But yes, I did hear a lot of love about the trans character that's in it, particularly because of that, because of they're not making their whole characters just they're trans, and then they have like no interesting hobbies or like any sort of particular traits. Just that.
This one has the backstory. They used to be a soldier and they got kicked out the army after they came out, I believe, or they quit their job, I can't remember. But so they're actually a very well-trained military type person, and so they have a lot of personality that comes around that. Or and there's like nice as well little moments I like, even just down to things they wouldn't know. Like there's a part in the series where there's a game they're playing and it's predominantly played by girls back in the school, and when they're asked, "Did you ever play it?" They're like, "Well, no, I didn't. But I played this game. One of the other games that tried to get them to play is like predominantly played boys, but I can do that one." And it's like, "Oh, of course, yeah." They wouldn't have played that girls' game. They'd have played the boys' game because they weren't trans yet. Or I suppose they're technically always trans, but they hadn't come out yet. So it was just like a nice little detail of they wouldn't know how to play the girls' game yet, which I thought was quite nice little attention they put to it. And they could have very easily just maybe like, well, I looked into this game after I came out, which would make no sense. So I thought it was very well done.
Excellent. Yeah, I will give it a go at some point. Just don't know when is going to be the time. I'm currently going through Metaphor Fantasio a bit more lately. It's finally started picking up. It was a little bit slow for the first maybe 5-6 hours, but now the story has gotten particularly great, and the characters are a bit more fleshed out as well. I particularly like Hulkenberg, the redheaded elf-looking lady that you get that looks like she belongs at a Jak and Daxter game. Like I've been really liking her, and just how sort of badass she is, but also kind of will chill out a little bit more. It's like I was just going through a section where we went to another village, and she's just really, really enjoying the cuisines there. So it was just that's sort of like badass with a heart of gold type of a character I do love, particularly with a female. Okay, cool. So, right, we got all the pleasantries out of the way and everything, so we're both good. We're both doing well. So, with that said and done, we will move on to the Switch 2. And there's a lot to discuss already. The trailer that we got on the, what did I say the date was again? Thursday 16th? The 16th. Yeah, Thursday, January 16th.
Out of nowhere. I don't think they didn't like say it was coming or anything. It just dropped.
No,
it was, random as hell.
And they put in a direct at the end of the trailer. That's for confusingly they put in the 4th of February for even on the UK channel, and in reality it's like April 2nd. That's when the direct's going to be happening, and we're going to get supposedly a little more information about the Switch 2. But as of right now, we just have this 2-minute trailer. And there's a lot of people already giving their own opinions in full about the Switch 2 over this very brief video, but we'll go into that later on with the public reaction. But yes, supposedly in April, we're going to get a bit more about the console itself, the inner hardware, and presumably the games as well that are going to be coming out for it. Again, we'll go into the like
games plural.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Well, again, we'll go into like the possible games we want to see and predicted launch titles that we will probably be expecting. But yeah, the first question I wanted to ask, and the answer is going to be pretty obvious, I reckon, and we're both going to have, I reckon, the same kind of answer. But are we both ready, and we as the consumer, ready to move on from the Switch 1 and head into the Switch 2 after nearly 8 years since the Switch 1 released back in 2017?
Ooh. So personally, I don't play my Switch very often anymore. It pretty much just sits and waits for me to touch it. And I pretty much only play Mario Kart with mates or Stickbold, which is a wonderful dodgeball game. Anybody who doesn't know, I believe by an Icelandic team. It's just a little indie game, usually very cheap. And,
Icelandic, Nordic? I can't remember.
Icelandic, I believe. But it's a great little game, but I mostly just do it for multiplayer with mates or Smash Brothers, obviously. I am pretty much ready for something new. I went through so much Tears of the Kingdom. I finished Tears of the Kingdom, and then I loved it so much I ended up doing loads of the extra stuff, and that was pretty much the last time I touched it. So whenever Tears of the Kingdom came out, was probably the last proper time I used my Switch other than here or there for multiplayer with friends.
Yeah, that was 2023, so you haven't used your Switch in well over a year then.
Yeah, properly. I haven't sat down and just played a Switch game for the sake of it since Tears of the Kingdom, other than, like I say, for multiplayer purposes. Whenever I go on a trip, if I'm going anywhere for overnight or a couple days, usually I've got my Switch for that, because then I can play with friends. I recently got the special. I say recently. When did the Peach game come out? That was last year.
Yeah, that was like sometime last year. What was it called again? Peach Showtime?
Showtime, I think. Yeah. I got the special peach color Joy-Cons because I need new ones anyway. At some point last year as well. But I'm pretty much ready for something new. It's not that I don't have well, technically I do have stuff I can play on it, but I just find I'm kind of at a point where it's feeling a little stale. You know, the console's been out for so long. It was the same way with the PS4. It went the same way. We had PS4. There are loads of games you could play on the PS4, and you could probably play games for 20 odd years, and you'd probably not get through the whole catalog. And I just kind of felt like I'd done enough on the PS4 before the 5 came out. And I'm kind of at that point with the Switch where I just feel like we need something new. I'd assume you'd be in the same boat.
Yes, I'm pretty much in the same boat as well. I mean, I still play on my Switch maybe occasionally, either just playing games that I haven't completed yet. Like I still haven't finished Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and we got Xenoblade X coming out on Switch in a couple months' time.
Your favorite?
My favorite gameplay-wise, I would say story-wise, it's not very good at all. I didn't really like the story, but the gameplay was fantastic. The only thing is, I'm not sure how the Wii U gamepad mechanics are going to work with the Switch without the gamepad. But I mean, it has been done before.
You mean you worried about that with Wonderful 101?
Yeah, Wonderful 101 works pretty well without the gamepad. That was fine. Although most of the time, even on the Wii U, I use the right analog stick to draw shapes anyway. But with Xenoblade, you pretty much keep track of all your progress on the gamepad, from what I remember. It's been a long time since I played it. That came out in like 2015, I think, like the end of 2015. So it's been like close to 10 years at this point since I last played it. But if I remember, there was a lot of use for the gamepad with it. Some relatively decent use of the gamepad, but I don't know. It could potentially work on the Switch. I don't know. I'll just have to wait and see. But yeah. So, and not just that, but I've also just picked up Donkey Kong Country Returns HD as well, because I never did finish that on the Wii, and I never owned the 3DS version. So the Switch version pretty much gives you the best of both worlds with Donkey Kong Country Returns, because my main issue with it was the all the motion gimmicks the original Wii one had. So yeah, I'm still playing stuff on the Switch, albeit not as much as something as my PC or even the PS5.
You do tend to bounce around though. Yeah, you are one of the, you and I are quite different, where you bounce around a lot, and I tend to stay in my one little spot and play the same game constantly. Like right now, Space Engineers. I'm playing constantly, and that's on my PC, and I'm kind of not in the mood for narrative games, which typically is kind of where you'd be sat on your. I'm similar to my Switch. I haven't touched my PS5 in a while, since I think Spider-Man 2.
Oh wow, yeah, that was also 2023.
No, Persona 3. Sorry.
Oh
no, Persona 3 Realized. I got to unlocking Akihiko, and then I was just like, I'm alright for now. Even though I was really excited for that game, I'm just not in the narrative mood.
Yeah.
But whereas you like to bounce around a lot, and you like,
I do.
You tend to have your like a pan in every fire possible, because you've usually got at least 30 games going.
Yes.
At one time or another.
I'll eventually finish that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not often that I really focus on one game anymore. Something like if it's for a review, then yeah, I'm a bit more focused on it, because it's like it's something I want to talk about someday. But yeah, if I'm just playing casually, then yeah, I do like to bounce around a lot. Which is both a blessing and a curse for this review channel, really. But yeah, I was like, there's only a few games that I've been sort of playing on the Switch. Even stuff like Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, which I was so excited to play again after not having a re-release for so long since the GameCube days. I've not actually gone that far into it. I don't know why. And I think this might be the other thing as well, maybe, as to why I haven't gone back to my Switch yet. It's because it's a lot of games that I've played already, just being remastered or re-released and all that. We're sort of, I mean, we are at that age where like remasters and remakes and stuff are abundant anyway, but I feel like 2024 and to some extent 2023, there were a lot of them. I think Tears of the Kingdom was maybe the last truly new Switch game that I did play and beat.
It's a bit of a double-edged sword because we want these games back. A lot of the games that we love, we want them back, but at the same time, it's coming at the cost of so much development time's being put into them that we're not getting fresh stuff as well alongside it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because and there's stuff that we still want remakes of. We want Twilight Princess back, Wind Waker to come back and stuff, but we still haven't seen it. And now, most likely, it would be a Switch 2 thing.
Yeah.
If they do it at all, and so we're at the same time as complaining, oh, there's too many remakes. We're like, why haven't you done these remakes?
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, really.
Gamers not wanting to figure out what they want.
Yeah. Gamers wanting all of the world at once. Impossible.
So, like, which game would you say did sort of show the Switch One's age the most? Because for me, I would say the first time I can recall that the Switch One truly sort of started looking like it was aging was with No More Heroes 3. And that was released in like 2021, so the Switch was about 4 years old at that point. Which I guess could still be seen as the Switch in its prime still, just about. But yeah,
I would say it's a bit of an unfair comparison as well because it looks crap even on PlayStation.
Does it? I'm not actually.
Yeah, I've seen the footage. If you look
version.
at the footage of the PS ones at the same time area, I know it was originally Switch released only, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
But when
Switch
they ported
only.
it over to like PlayStation, so it still looked crap.
Did it?
In my books, it still didn't look great.
Right.
I think it would be an unfair comparison. I don't think they optimized it very well for Switch. My thinking is if you want the most optimized games for the Switch, it's anything by Nintendo, or at least published by Nintendo. So, and the first one that really started showing its age was probably either Xenoblade 3 or SMT5, the original, not Vengeance. Particularly with draw distances, it became very obvious, particularly in Xenoblade. You could see anything past 15, 20 meters in front of you would be really pixely and jittery, and in front of you still didn't look that great. It still looked really quite muddy and detailed.
Yeah. And the Mimons in SMT5 would like sort of have a drop in frame rate if they're like really far away.
Which I don't mind that so much with I know it's a draw distance thing of why would you fully render the thing that's like miles away. But it's not just down to that. It is like it's a lot of little things that add up. And I seem to recall looking at SMT5 and thinking, "Ooh, this is a bit off. Ooh, that's a bit off." And then seeing Xenoblade 3 and thinking, "God, that's really, really poor." That was like I think one of the first times I've looked at, other than No More Heroes, is one of the first ones that I started looking at and going, "Oof." That's not good.
Yeah.
Xenoblade 3, I think there's some nice looking bits to it, but like there are some real crapper points in that game because you're playing it recently.
Yeah,
and
I think it looks more.
Look
it's artistically it looks fine. It looks great, but yeah. In terms of like the technical aspects, yeah, it's a bit fuzzy and blurry, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even just down to like the grass. Looks really, really pixely and really jagged. It just doesn't have any kind of proper smoothing to it because it just can't handle it at that scale that Xenoblade 3 wanted to be. So I hope it gets an enhanced version or something.
I hope it does. Yeah, I hope a lot of the games get enhanced versions.
I think it could do with it, and it would kind of make it so much more than what it could be at the time. It doesn't help that was like the second or so release for the Switch So like, how much more can you change when the console hasn't changed? Realistically, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I also forgot about like SMT5 anyway. In regards to like what game did look like it aged the most, and it does. The vanilla SMT5 does look like it has aged a bit. Like when even when it came out, but that was also like 2021, I would say. And in its defense, and with Xenoblade as well, they both do have like sort of an art style to them, which kind of sort of works with the Switch. Whereas like if we were to go a little bit further ahead, where the Switch is like 5 years old at this point, and I think this was probably the first time in a Trash or Treasure video I truly pointed out that the Switch was showing its age. It was with Bayonetta 3, because that game, that game looked like that game came out in 2022 rough. And it looked like a PS3 game a little bit, because it was running in
which is an insult I feel like gets thrown around a lot. Like way too much on the internet. That gets like, people look at a gorgeous, like it could be freaking Red Dead Redemption 2, and people look at it, it looks like a PS3 game. It's just like I find that thing gets thrown about way too often online. But yeah, with Bayonetta 3, I wouldn't say it looks like a PS3 game. I would say it's not that much better than a PS3 game.
Yeah, like
rather
maybe
than it being exactly
better.
A PS3 game. It's just minorly better than a PS3 game, because I think a lot of people forget just how rough the PS3 kind of looked. Which at the time we thought, damn, graphics ain't getting better than this.
And they did.
And they did, yeah, because like Last of Us, I remember when Last of Us first came out, we were looking at it, I was like, damn, I don't see technology going that much better than that. Yeah. That's insane. And then it got better.
Yeah, it did. Like I remember Batman
going up.
I remember Batman Arkham Knight being like the first time that I was sort of blown away in terms of next gen graphics. And I still think like Arkham Knight is still a damn good looking game, even like 10 years later.
When it runs properly.
Yes, when it runs properly. And Arkham Knight is 10 years old now, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's when we finally caved. That's where our dad finally caved and got the PS4. It's Arkham Knight, I believe, because we got the Arkham Knight edition of the PS4. That came with the game.
But yeah, I agree that the insults of, everything looking like a PS3 game does get thrown around too much amongst a number of other common opinions that are frankly ridiculous online. But yeah, Bayonetta 3, I think, was the first time I ever said out loud to myself, this looks very dated, and it just came out. There was a lot of pop in. The grass and the trees were incredibly pixelated. Like it was running in 720p or something like that. And even the frame rate dipped a bit from 60 to maybe occasionally a 30 or 40, which is not good for an action game like that, where a lot of frames count towards your actions. But yeah, there's plenty of examples you could probably think of as to which game looks like it's made the Switch One age the worst, or the most, I should say.
I think with No More Heroes 3, I'm just remembering as well, isn't that an Unreal Engine game?
I think so.
Which I don't feel like is an engine built for the Switch.
No.
I just don't think any game that would run on, that is using the Unreal Engine is built to work on the Switch. That's just not how the Switch runs. It's as we were saying, with the stylized things, it's wonderful. Like with Xenoblade and SMT, the kind of lower graphics quality does still work when the design kind of favors it, which SMT5 and to an extent Xenoblade 3 and 2 looked pretty good.
Yeah.
For the time. Whereas No More Heroes tried to be somewhat stylized, but also have the realistic lighting and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think was its biggest failing. It really should have kept to its original roots of a very over-the-top stylized look. And I think that one of the many issues with No More Heroes 3 is just how the engine works and everything. I just don't think the Unreal Engine's capable of doing that sort of style. or at least not easily. I'm sure somebody will comment and be like, actually, this game. But from what I know, I could be entirely off base about that. But I don't think I know like Persona runs actually with Unreal Engine, doesn't it? Persona 3.
Yes, it does.
Reload,
As does
and Royal.
I think Metaphor does as well.
Doesn't Royal?
Royal does, yes, I believe so.
So, and like those look really stylized and run great. So actually, I guess, you can do the right lighting and stuff. So I've already proven myself wrong. So I still, it boggles the mind. I don't know what the hell they were doing with No More Heroes 3.
Who knows?
One of many people questioning that decision.
Right. So I think that's pretty much all we can say about the Switch 1 right now, and our thoughts on
do you,
death.
Do you still love the Switch 1? As a follow-up question is to that. Yes, are we tired of having the Switch? Are we tired of what we've got and want something fresh? Yes, but I as you say there, I still love the Switch. I think it's a great console.
Yeah, agreed. I like my time spent with the Switch has been, for lack of a better word, amazing. Like I still greatly remember when it first got announced and just seeing that whole gimmick of like being both like a game you can take on the go and play on your TV. That was just freaking mind blowing. Like, and I still don't think anyone but Nintendo has managed to do it properly. Even Steam hasn't quite done it yet. I mean, they got the Steam Deck and they got the handheld portion, from what I hear, perfectly okay.
The handheld I hear is very good. I haven't got to try. I've seen people around my university. They've been playing. I've seen people with them, and they look really good. They're bulky.
Yeah,
by Switch comparison. Like I was something I was curious about the Switch 2 about is would they make it more like the Steam Deck and be a little bulkier in favor of performance, which I'm not sure whether I want that or would I want that or not. And we don't appear to have got it anyway, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. But yeah, I hear the handheld portion's very good. And I've seen people playing on it, and it looks great. Honestly, I've seen even the basic LCD screen looks really good. I don't know if I've ever caught somebody on an OLED.
I think they've stopped selling the LCD ones now.
Have they?
Yeah, they did. I think they did a sale recently, and that was like the last of their stock or something. Or yeah, they're getting close to running out or something because they want to sell all the OLEDs.
Currently showing them for £349, but only the 256 option. So I guess maybe they've only got the crappy ones left.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess they're wanting to get rid of the OLEDs now.
I think, didn't they as well provide a dock thing to plug it into a TV? I could have sworn. Or it has the option.
I'm
not
not
dock
sure
necessarily, but you can just plug it in with a cable or something. Probably USB-C, I would assume. But
I think
anyway.
just to like maybe charge, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, as you were saying, anyway.
Yeah, as I was saying, like So even Steam haven't quite gotten the whole hybrid console formation down just yet. They got the handheld portion and the console portion. They just haven't got it together yet. But who knows? Maybe after the Switch 2 comes out, they might do something to combat that. Yeah, but no, that's a good follow-up question. I didn't really think about that. Nah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about the Switch 1. And yeah, it will be missed. I will not forget the memories I did have with it.
Probably won't sell it.
No. Actually, I don't know.
It depends really how backwards compatible we're talking, really.
Yeah. We'll go into the backwards compatibility in a bit, and the innards of the Switch 2 we might be expecting, but yeah, as the thing I was thinking about was now that the Switch 2 has been announced, I don't imagine Switch 1s are gonna sell particularly well anymore, are they?
If you're interested in getting an OLED, I guess now's the time.
Yeah, I guess so.
And you're not that fussed about the 2, which it would be fair, because most likely, much like when the Switch came out, it will probably have a couple, 2 or 3 games built for it when it first comes out, and then it'll be about a month or 2 before we see anything else come out.
Yeah.
So if you want to basically wait out the Switch 2 to start kind of getting a bit more out there and have more games, now's probably a good time to, once people have started selling their current Switches, will be a good time to pick up an OLED.
Yeah.
get the upgrade.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if I can sell mine at a decent enough price because the front of my screen got scratched because of the dock very
Oh
slightly.
yes, a lot of people have had that.
That's just
A
jumping
common
ahead a
issue,
little
which
bit.
I hope they fix.
Yeah, I was gonna say jumping ahead a little bit. I hope they do fix that. They just make they like give some padding to the dock or something.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my biggest problems with the Switch One. So let's get on to talking about the Switch 2 then. So as I say, the trailer we were given was only maybe a couple minutes, and we did get maybe a taste of what to expect. But yeah, I don't expect that we've been shown absolutely everything. I guarantee there's probably more to come during April's Direct. But if we talk about the aesthetics first, I've got a picture up now for the podcast, but the actual dock is a bit more rounded at the edges than the Switch One was, which I'm guessing is meant to prevent the scratches a little bit more. I'm assuming.
I don't know because the scratches don't come from there; they come lower down. So I'm looking at the end of the video where they show it docking and everything, and we get a bit of a side view. It's more of like a isometric view of it, I suppose. Yeah. And it looks pretty tightly packed in there. It doesn't look like it's got a big gap. However, I can't see the back of the dock, so I'm wondering if it's maybe the back of the dock is a little lower and maybe has some padding. Just don't know, really. Unfortunately, right now, with only 2 minutes 20 of video they've shown us, there's only so much we can speculate on.
I was going to say, you were previously talking to me and the rest of the family about how you didn't really like the logo very much.
No, I don't like the logo. I think it's a bit of a lazy-looking logo because it's essentially they've just shifted over the original logo and put a 2. I feel like there's something clever they could have done with the Joy-Cons, or maybe differentiated in color or something to just stand out a little more. Because right now it just looks like the normal Switch dock with a 2 on it. If you're mad, what you have to imagine is what they're trying to avoid here is the Wii U problem, where people are going to look at it and go, well, we already have that at home. I don't see parents looking at that and going, how is that any different? Other than seeing the 2 on it. I just feel like it needed something else to stand out. Just maybe a splash of color somewhere rather than going all black, which is very not Nintendo. That's very strange to me. I'm surprised they went with the all black look.
Do you think the Switch 2 is actually a good name for it? Like, should they have called it like the Super Switch or
I see
Switch
a lot of
U?
people say the Super Switch, which would be kind of cool. I would like that return to the SNES era. I would probably have preferred. I mean, I don't mind necessarily Switch 2. Originally, my instant reaction was I didn't like it, but the more I've thought on it, the more I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Because you have, when they have PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5, nobody complains, right? It's, you're adding a number. So it does somewhat make sense to call it the Nintendo Switch 2, but that now kind of backs them into it has to always be the Nintendo Switch. Or at least that's what it seems like. Will we get a Nintendo Switch 3 down the line, or a 4? Is it the new version of a PlayStation or an Xbox? I just don't know what else I would call it other than a Super Nintendo Switch, which would be SWS. I don't know if that's a bad.
It'd be like SNS or something.
SNS, sorry, not W.
Yeah, SNS, which I guess would then be a bit too close to SNES.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. This is the thing. I'm not sure I'm big on it, but 100%. But it makes sense. It's more the logo that I not hate, but it's just a bit
bit basic.
It's lacking in any sort of flair. It's not got that Nintendo feel to it. It feels like a very corporate thing, which, granted, yes, Nintendo's a corporate thing. The word that's been thrown around a lot is innovation.
Yes.
With this thing, a lot of people's reactions have been, it's lacking innovation, which I think is a bit silly. But because we don't know anything about it yet, you don't know what's innovative or not.
Yeah.
But in terms of look and feel, appearance-wise, I can see what they're talking about. because it doesn't have that Nintendo look. It looks just like any other console. I would imagine I could imagine Sony would make that. I could imagine Microsoft would make that. It doesn't feel Nintendo-y.
I don't know about that because like we didn't really feel that way about the Switch 1 when it first came out, and the Switch 2 is basically using the same sort of look. Like the Switch 1 was pretty revolutionary for its time, even for like even aesthetically. Like there was no other console like that, and that what they've essentially done with the Switch 2 is just do it again, but more powerful and change a few things now and then. And other than the Steam Deck, I've not really seen any other company try and do that sort of thing.
But what I'm saying is, when I say any other company could make it, is it doesn't have any flair.
Yeah.
To it. It doesn't. It is essentially just a basic little rectangle. And now, when it doesn't even have the colorful ends, which made it very Nintendo. Nintendo is very colorful, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So you take out the color, and what do you get? You just get every other corporate thing. It is what I mean. What I don't get is this decision to make just the top beam and the analog surround colored. Maybe this is just the initial look, and there will be other ones that do have the colored shells. No doubt within like a month of this thing being out, there will be people making shells, that replacement shells anyway.
Or Nintendo will do it themselves.
Which I doubt. They're not very good about kind of do your own stuff like that.
Oh right, I was thinking more like they would
selling
release
the actual finished product.
Yes, like selling separate colored Joy-Cons, like they did with the Switch 1. Like you have the option of gray or blue and red.
That. But what I'm saying is people were doing replacement shell, where you can literally change the shell itself. But all of this is too early to say. I just feel like without the color, it doesn't feel very Nintendo-y. It looks very corporatized, and like they're just doing what people asked of them, kind of thing, I guess is the way to put it. Which I don't mind necessarily. It's not bad. I'm not going to go rah 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 online about it. But it's like a kind of thing. It would have been nicer for some color. I like color on my console, my Nintendo consoles, particularly if they brought back that indigo from the GameCube era. Oh. I'd be on it. I would love a Switch with the indigo color.
They had an indigo Joy-Con at one point.
No, it was an indigo Switch Lite.
No, it was like what was it? A purple and indigo Joy-Con combo?
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
No.
I am certain they did.
I'm looking this up. Continue as you were. We'll get back to that later.
But no, I agree to some extent about the like the lack of color being a bit of a turnoff. It is a shame that they basically just copied the look of the Switch 1 for the most part, with maybe some minor exceptions. However, I do really love the inner rims of the analog sticks, or the outer rims, I guess you could probably call it. It's very sort of like Portal-esque. I would say with the blue and red combo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do really like that, and the I don't know what you call them, the little clippy parts of the Joy-Cons. What are those called?
The colored bars.
Yeah,
I guess I don't know, Joy-Con docking bar?
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to come up with new names for things. Damn you, Nintendo.
The Joy Bar? No, that's not good.
The Joy Bar. But yeah, I would like to interject briefly, just say there is not, in fact, an Indigo official Nintendo.
Okay, I am
Joy-Con, you liar.
I am certain there was one. I'll have to look it up after this.
I have just looked up all the official Nintendo Joy-Cons, and there is not one. There are there's like a lilac, there's a purple, but it is not the Indigo.
No, all right. I will have to look this up myself. I am not convinced.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do like that the joy bars, I guess you will call them. Yeah, I like that they're in color now too. Just I like colors. I'm sounding like a 5-year-old.
I like colors, but I wish it was on the more colorful, the bigger part of the controller. Because once you've docked that, right, once you put it in the joy grip, assuming that's still the name for it,
yeah,
you don't see that. So all of your color is on the analog stick.
Joy grip and the joy bar.
Yeah, the joy grip of the joy bar. Yeah, is you only get the analog sticks around, which is like barely any color.
Yeah.
So I just it boggles my mind why they swapped that round, because they had it the right way around before. So why did you change it?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe in the future we might see more iterations of the dock and the Joy-Cons.
I hope so.
But yeah, I mean the Joy-Cons for sure. I am assuming we're gonna see more colored variations.
Yeah, probably in that April direct, most likely.
Yeah, probably. And who knows? Maybe the logo might be changed as well to something a bit more your liking.
Oh, well, they're not changing it from now.
Probably
they've
not.
Shown it now. It's not changing.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people have reacted kind of to it, as far as I understand. But yeah. They're not going to change it. Then most likely they've already manufactured a bunch.
Yeah, most likely. Oh yeah, they've probably given out like test kits already and stuff.
Yeah, there's dev kit. I mean, before this video came out, there's been a month of leaks coming out, and and what was crazy is that they were right. It looked exactly like this. So it was like people were like, "Nah, that just looks, like somebody tweaked it or a little bit." And like, no, this is the real thing. And it had the Nintendo Switch 2 thing on it and everything. So it's already, dev kits have already been sent out from the sounds of it.
All right.
So from what we gather, because there are people been leaking it.
Yeah.
Before this came out, and they've turned out to be true because the pictures now line up exactly with what they've shown. They're including somebody had released, I believe, a full CAD model of it, which was crazy. Which is
stupid question. What's that?
Computer-aided design. It's a 3D model, basically. The full 3D model of the Switch, too.
Right.
Somebody released a while ago. I dare say by now Nintendo has swiftly smacked them back down. But, because their lawyers are crazy. But somebody uploaded at one point, what was at the time, supposedly a full 3D model of the Nintendo Switch 2. And everybody's like, whatever, and then it turned out to be right. So, presumably there is some sort of test kits already out, or dev kits, or maybe it's already been sent out to people who design accessories. Who knows, really? It could be all sorts of things. Maybe it's somebody from Nintendo itself. We just don't know.
Maybe. Right, so we haven't been shown a whole lot in terms of the features of the Switch 2, aside from the buttons are slightly more prominent, like the volume buttons and the power buttons. They look a bit more sort of like stood out a bit more, so you can press them a bit more easily, because that is one thing I don't really like too much about the Switch 1, is that some of the buttons, especially the power button, was a little like you had to sort of dig your finger a little bit into it in order to get it working. But yeah, probably the more noticeable addition though were the magnetic Joy-Cons. You could just rip them off.
Presumably magnetic.
Yes, presumably magnetic.
They look like they would be like almost like the MagSafe that Apple used to have.
Yeah. And there's some people concerned about that. This is probably one of the more legit concerns, I think.
I disagree on the legitimacy of the concern, but we were discussing this earlier briefly.
Yeah, briefly, but yeah, there's like a little sort of connector on the side, like on the side of the Switch,
where normally it would clip in.
Yeah, where the Joy-Con clips in. I think you would really need to try and break it in order for it to snap, but I don't know. It does also look a little bit exposed for my liking.
With the connector is in on the Switch itself. It is inset, and on the joy grips it's inset, and in order to connect your Joy-Con you have to get the joy bar lined up and inserted first, and it's recessed. This is where I think it's actually not going to be as fragile as people think it is. I think people who tend to rag on their consoles, the kind who end up like pulling off the freaking analog sticks,
Yes.
which I still don't know how people do that.
I don't know how
or end
people
up
do
with
that.
like massively ripped apart. Like, how much are you digging in on your analog stick?
Yeah.
I think those kinds of people are probably going to break it because they seem to be able to break things ridiculously easily, and then complain about it like it's the console's fault. Well, you just don't look after your stuff.
Yeah, especially tournament players where they like really abuse their controllers.
Yeah, insane. And so I think, because it looks like you have to perfectly line it up before you insert it, in order to get the joy bar to be perfect, lined up properly. I don't think it's possible to really rag it side to side. And if it's magnetic, I would hope if it's magnetic, or I would hope it is magnetic, and if it is, that if you were to drop it, unlike the last one where it would basically break the little plastic clip that actually clips your Joy-Cons in, and you'd end up with a Switch that doesn't have clipping ability. Or actually, no, Joy-Cons that didn't have the clipping ability. This one instead would just pop off because it's magnetic. That's my hope, and what I can tell based on looking at it from as a person who makes things for a living. Looking at that's what it screams to me like, but obviously, again, speculation at this point, and I think people who think it's going to break really, really easily are just the type of people who really rag on their consoles anyway.
Yeah.
And knowing Nintendo, they're very good at this sort of thing, and they wouldn't make it very fragile. I would say they wouldn't make it very fragile anyway. I just don't think they'd make that kind of mistake. But you think it is going to be.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It seems like you would need to actually try in order to snap it. But I don't know. It seems like it's something that might maybe have a little trouble working after some time, because like, especially if you're the kind of player that just sort of leaves their Joy-Cons in the Joy Grip for a little bit, and meanwhile that connector's gathering dust and it's gonna maybe have a little trouble connecting afterwards and stuff. I don't know. I'm not a technical person. That's more Diana's sort of wheelhouse there. So I'm gonna trust her word on it. But I don't know. It's just
look at it this way. Essentially, what this could be like is, from the looks of it, looking at the video, it looks a lot like a different kind of lightning port, almost, as it were.
Yeah.
And that does get grime in the... I'd be more concerned about grime getting in the Joy-Con side, much like the lightning dock or lightning port on an iPhone. Like, that gets gummed up really quickly with crap. I would hope they designed around it, but if even Apple can design around that and they had to go switching to USB-C after you force them, I feel like Nintendo is a perfectly possible also candidate for making the same mistake. So it screams to me a bit like lightning port, which means I think the Switch side, which has got the connector, is not likely to get grimy or dusty or anything, because your lightning cable doesn't.
No.
A cable doesn't get dusty on the outside, realistically. If it does, it doesn't affect it, really. It's more the port side on the Joy-Cons that I'd be concerned about. But at the same time, like you're saying, a lot of the time it either stays on the console or it's on the grips, and it's not usually openingly exposed.
No.
So it might just be a false fear. I would say it's unlikely to give out, at least connection-wise.
Yeah.
It's more likely to, if it's gonna break, it's gonna be from somebody ragging it.
Yeah, which I don't plan on doing, because I guarantee that's going to be.
We look after our consoles.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we look after our consoles no matter how old. But yeah, it's just something I just don't naturally do. I don't know how people naturally just sort of get so angry that they or frustrated or just play too hard that they snap their controllers in half. I'm not even strong enough to do that. I don't know how sometimes people do it.
You can hear it creaking a little. If you get angry, you can hear it creaking, but I can't imagine being able to get so angry as to break that off entirely.
Yeah.
That's just nuts.
It is. Right, so those are the Joy-Cons. They haven't mentioned whether or not the screen is going to be OLED or not, or LCD again, and they're just going to release an OLED model later. I suspect it's going to be an OLED screen, because they already did that with the Switch. Why wouldn't they do that again? But
Well, that seems like a dumb Nintendo move where they wouldn't. And
Yeah.
I seem to recall, I don't know the what's the word? I don't know how true it is. Basically, somebody saying that Nintendo has said it's not an OLED, or one of the people with the dev kits has said it's not an OLED. It's just an LCD. I'm not 100% sure on that.
This is an my uncle works at Nintendo situation.
Yeah, it's like he said, she said kind of thing. So who knows, really? Again, we're not going to know probably until April. And even then, Nintendo doesn't really tend to go into the really detailed specs.
No.
So I'm not entirely convinced they're going to say if it's an OLED or not, but
yeah,
we'll see. Hopefully they do. Yeah, we'll have to just see.
Yeah, so the other topic I wanted to discuss was the higher resolution and possible frame rates, which I've seen a couple people already wanting 4K visuals on docked and all that.
It's insane.
Which is not going to happen. Like, we've come far in technology, but we've not come that far. We're still miles away yet in terms of the hybrid console
Also,
era.
Why would you need to? That's what I don't get. It's that's not what the Switch is for.
No.
A lot of people complaining. One of the things that infuriates me when people complain online about Nintendo is they always talk about how the performance of their consoles is crap. Why would you want to play? You can't run games at 4K, 60 FPS all the time. And it's like, I don't need to.
No.
I don't care. Generally speaking. It just doesn't make sense. It's not what the Switch is for. It's a family console. It's not a workhorse like a PlayStation or an Xbox or a PC is. It's for the fun for all the family.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be top of the line. Everything's the best possible thing it can be. So I just don't get why people would want it to be that. I'm sure I can see it being capable of it, but not being like a selling point of games for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I would at the very least like to see more games like try and reach 1080p a bit more with the Switch too. Even if not all games can do it, at least I would like to see at least some of them try to. Nintendo's usually pretty good about it already. Like with Donkey Kong Country Returns HD I was talking about before, and with Luigi's Mansion 2 HD that came out about sometime last year as well. They run at 1080p, I believe, and Donkey Kong runs at 60 frames. Nintendo themselves are pretty good about it, but yeah, just all third parties, they usually struggle a little bit with the Switch, and I'm hoping that with the Switch 2, they'll be able to have an easier time and maybe upgrade some of their games. We briefly touched on this earlier in regards to like games that have already been released on the Switch getting an upgrade. But I would personally like to see something like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night or Witcher 3 get an upgrade. Because at the moment, like Witcher 3 in particular, well, as impressive of a port as it is, on docked, I think it runs at like 576p, and on handheld, it runs at 480p, which is not the most ideal for a game like that. Again, impressive, but not
the
ideal.
Quality is evident, especially when compared to its original looks. Witcher 3 is a beautiful game.
Yeah.
And still looks really good today, the original. So it's a bit of a, like, oof, when you look at the comparison.
Yeah. Yeah.
So extremely impressive that it even runs at all.
I would very much like to, be able to continue my progress using cross saves, but without having to think, do I want to sacrifice the performance on my Switch version? No. This is where a Steam Deck would come in handy for this sort of thing, but I don't have one.
That's where Steam Deck is all better. It's so much better at the high-end stuff, but at the cost of portability, I think it's just a bit too chunky.
Oh, also, I like go and jump in the gun a little bit with the predicted launch titles and stuff, but I would like to freaking see a proper version of Kingdom Hearts on Switch with the Switch 2.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's like, we can actually make that happen. I think the Switch 1 could have actually made it happen.
I still don't get why it didn't in the first place.
Yeah,
I think this Kingdom Hearts 3 might be a push, but they could still probably do it. But certainly the 1.5 and 2.5 collection stuff would be lovely to see a proper version of it, not the crappy cloud save version.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did anybody really buy?
Some people did, and I've seen a couple videos where they like shared their experience with the cloud versions, and it was not good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was stable for like the most part, but then like those moments where the internet does cut out and ruins your game, that's when it gets absolutely infuriating.
Yeah.
Even if it's only like a couple times, it's annoying. Right, so yeah, that's the resolution and frame rate. I suppose we didn't talk too much about the frame rate. I'm perfectly okay with it staying at 60 for most of the games. I don't know.
I don't need it to be any more. I don't really. I mean, yeah.
I haven't seen too many people actually talk about how they want like 144 hertz or 144 frames a second or something. I think it's just mostly the resolution that people are wanting.
Seen any mention of frames. I think people wanting consistent 60.
Yes. Consistent 60 would be good.
I would rather consistent 60 and 1080p than 4K anything. I don't really notice the difference between 1080 and 4K, being honest, a lot of the time. I know it's there. But a lot of the time I feel like I'm blind to it because you're sat so far back from like the TV. Usually, unless you're right up to it, I'm just not seeing it.
1080p and 4K, absolutely. I can see a bit of a difference with it. 1440p and 4K, not a damn clue.
Yeah, I've got a 2560 by 1440 monitor, and I notice sometimes the difference, but I don't. Yeah. It's not enough for me to care. I could live with 1080 perfectly happily and never really complain. It's mostly the frame rate that I'm worried about, which I hope going with that they, with the potential to boost past games, I really hope they boost the Zeldas.
Yes.
Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. If those get boosted, that would pretty much solve a lot of problems with those two games of just not being able to handle stuff. Although Tears of the Kingdom was very, very good at handling it, surprisingly.
I wouldn't even,
at least for me.
I wouldn't even mind Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom staying the same frame rate as they were. What did bother me was the Link's Awakening remake and Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, where they would sort of fluctuate between 30 and 60 like all the time. And that
it's not a very high demanding game, is it? Yeah.
No, that really bothered me. Like Zelda, like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild at least stay consistent for the most part. Whereas that was just a bit annoying with Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom. I just wanted like a stable experience throughout, not just sometimes it's in 60, sometimes it's in 30. It just got a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's resolution and frame rate there. So let's talk about the backwards compatibility that was sort of teased a little bit at the end of the trailer. They mentioned that Switch 1 games do work both physically and digitally, but not all of them. So they're keeping things a little bit vague at the moment as to which games work and which games don't. But my guess is that it's going... The ones that don't work... It's going to be like a PS4 situation where like only very, very few games won't work, like the bottom of the barrel type of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like anything actual Nintendo and by a larger company is going to work fine. Yeah. I see a lot of people complaining about this not back. What's crazy is people complaining about it's not backwards compatible. It's like, it is.
They literally say.
They literally say it is. It's just a few games. Yes, we don't know what games yet, but it's probably not going to be that very many. And the ones that are probably not going to be that important. And most likely, the general theory is, I think, is that it doesn't look like this has the IR sensor that the other Joy-Cons do. The original Joy-Cons do. So the general assumption is that it's just any game that requires the being able to point the Joy-Cons. That's it. Like maybe
Yeah.
we're not sure. There's absolutely no way of us knowing at this time. But you see so many people complaining that it's not backwards compatible. It is. For goodness sake, chill out, man. It's the amount of whining I have seen for this launch or this announcement is insane.
Yeah.
I know that gamers like to whine, but damn.
That's its own topic we're going to be getting into.
Oh my god.
I imagine we'll have a lot to say.
I'm getting into it now. God damn it. You sons of bitches.
But yeah, I get the feeling some people just didn't watch the trailer fully. Just made their own opinions. But
I think they just saw the clip, the bit at the end, and then didn't read it properly.
But yeah, I don't think the backwards compatibility thing is going to be that big of an issue. And for what we know, the IR sensor could be very well just hidden in the Joy-Cons, and we just can't see it. Like unlike the Switch 1, where it was a little more obvious. I don't know. I don't know.
It's quite a hard thing to hide because you do need a clear that kind of clear smoked plastic thing,
I guess,
and we can't see it. So I mean, what there could be is a different type of technology in there. We don't know. There could be some other form of sensor that does the looking for it rather than because. Realistically, I think one of the only Nintendo games I can really think that really requires that IR sensor would maybe be not Wii Sports, Switch Sports.
Yeah.
That's the only thing off the top of my head, and even then, I don't even know if that uses it per se. I don't know how much it uses it. I know it uses it a little bit, but and I can't imagine they'd make that entirely useless so quickly after it came out, which was what, 2022, 23?
I can't remember. It just sort of came and went for me.
Well, yeah, you didn't play it very much.
Nah.
I want to say it's 2022, 2023. So it would be a bit odd to me to make that game entirely non-compatible.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just going to be some other thing, or like you say, we just can't see the IR sensor. Maybe they've hidden it well somehow.
Through black magic.
Nintendo's very good at people. What a lot of people are saying with this one is that Nintendo's not innovating anymore. Blah blah blah. Most likely they are. It's just we can't see it yet. I know what a lot of people have caught on to from this. There was a lot of rumor that the Joy-Cons would be able to be used as a mouse.
Oh yeah.
And in the trailer, there was a particular point where the Joy-Cons slide across the table, about a minute 10 into that trailer, and it slides across the table almost like a mouse would, a computer mouse. So the suggestion there is perhaps that has something to do with new additional abilities that has been the trade-off for maybe no IR sensor, maybe. Because again, we don't know, we can't see. Yeah. It's just the people complaining about lack of innovation is so crazy to me, given that actually I've just looked through the trailer again, and you can see in a shot there is a seam on the very, very bottom of the Joy-Cons, which looks like where the IR sensor would be.
Oh, really?
And it looks very similar coloring to the rest of the grip of the shell of the Joy-Con, but you can see a seam line, so that looks like the IR sensor to me. That, or it's the back of the shell, and that's the seam between the two halves. But it looks to me like the IR sensor, so I think we're fine.
Yeah,
and people are being a bit presumptuous.
Yeah, I will trust your judgment on that one. But yeah, I don't think the backwards compatibility as a whole is going to be an issue. I don't see why Nintendo would sort of handicap themselves by not allowing their own games to be put on the Switch 2, unless they really want to risk selling them again just for the Switch 2, which I really hope they don't do for certain games. Just, make the Switch 1 versions backwards compatible and that's it. Because I really don't think they can afford re-releasing some of these games again for a third or fourth time. There's no way.
Yeah.
Moving on from backwards compatibility, let's talk about the price predictions. There were like some like quote unquote rumors, which are probably total BS. But yeah, they sort of range from like 350 to 400 pounds or $450, which seems all right. I think, but that's also how much the Switch 1 cost, if I remember correctly, back in 2017. So I imagine it's going to maybe be a little bit higher than that. So maybe $450, sure, that sounds about right. But I'm thinking realistically, it's going to be maybe like $500, something like that.
Yeah, I think what it's going to be is maybe a little more expensive than the OLED.
Yeah.
Or about the price of the OLED, I would say.
Do you remember how much the OLED was?
Not in dollars, no.
Or even in pounds for us?
I believe they were about $350 on...
Okay, so about $450.
Yeah, I think. I'm just trying to confirm that. It's $280 right now for the base model.
Wow, cool.
Which is pretty good. Cannot find an OLED. $285 for an OLED right now.
Crazy. That's not bad.
I don't know what it was originally, but I would say probably in the 350 region at the most is what I would say, pounds. I don't know what that is in dollars, but that would be what I guess.
It's something I should have researched beforehand. That's my bad. But yeah, I would say realistically it'll be about maybe £450 /$500. It certainly wouldn't be $700 like the PS5 Pro was without the disc drive. Like, I couldn't even. Can you imagine if Nintendo just sold like the cartridge drive like separately?
I would. Yeah, no, that'd be insane.
That would be insane.
As I was saying earlier, I think Nintendo is generally, and the Switch specifically, is very much a family console kind of deal. It would be insane for them to price it too high. Like, I wouldn't put it anywhere near the price of the PS5 or an Xbox or anything like that. I think the current price point of a Switch is pretty much right about where you want it, because it needs to be accessible for families. That's their main demographic, and it's also why the Switch is so selling. One of the reasons the Switch sells so well, because it's now surpassed, I believe, at least in the US, it's surpassed sales of the PS2, which is insane. That's like that's the highest selling console of all time. So it's crazy that it's done that in the US. And I would say, in part, it's because of the price. It's so reasonable for what you're getting. Yeah,
that's a good point.
So I can't imagine they would go anywhere near the £400 mark. I think at the very most it would be $350, but I think they'd be crazy to go that high. Even that, I think maybe $320 is right where I'd put it as a brand new console.
I'm just trying to take inflation into account though as well. I think $320 might be a bit cheap for them. But I could be wrong. Who knows? Because we also don't know how powerful this thing is yet compared to the PS5 or the Xbox Series, whatever. So I don't know. I again, probably just one of those things we'll have to wait on. But yeah, we're just giving our predictions. That's the whole point of this podcast. Right. Okay. So with the price out of the way, time to move on to the big topic that I'm sure DJ's been waiting for: the public reaction to the reveal. Where do we begin? I mean,
I already started on it.
Yeah.
It just the amount of whining from people about this, and I'm recognizing I'm now whining about the people whining.
Wineception.
It's a wineception. It feels like a lot of people either haven't watched the video or didn't watch it properly, or heard bits from a mate and then didn't watch the actual thing, and like their mate said, "Oh, it's not backwards compatible," and they just took that for like as their word or whatever. Because the amount of people complaining about the lack of backwards compatibility, or that Nintendo isn't innovating anymore, or why would I get just a bigger Switch and stuff like, it's not. It is backwards compatible, just not for some games. It is potentially innovative. We don't know yet because we don't know anything about the bloody console yet. We've just seen what it looks like.
It's a 2-minute video.
Yeah. And then it's just, and they're like, oh, why would I buy just a bigger console? It's not just a bigger console. That's the same thing as why would you buy a PS5 over a PS4? It runs better. It does new things. It does better things, as far as we know.
For all we know, it could be the same thing, but we don't know.
We don't know. It's just there's so many people like taking their assumptions as fact with this, and it's driving me up the wall. Just the amount of complaints I see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm this is me. I've seen throughout Instagram and Facebook, which is what I predominantly use, and Reddit. I don't know. You still use Twitter?
Yes, I do. Unfortunately,
I don't know what feedback is like over there.
It's about the same, really.
Yeah.
And just my
Even
God,
Eurogamer. Oof.
Oh
Eurogamer.
yeah, I'm so disappointed in Eurogamer saying like just jumping on the bandwagon. They're usually one of the better like video game journalists, and you've broken my heart.
They're usually the best. I mean, I can't think of any game journalist I would trust more than Eurogamer.
Nintendo Life are usually pretty good. They haven't actually said anything yet.
Are pretty good. Yeah, I mean, they're a bit biased, obviously.
Yes, slightly. But you know,
in terms of one who covers everything, Eurogamer tends to be the best.
Nintendo Life will give like a below average score if they can.
Well, I mean, in terms of they talk about everything, not just Nintendo. It's PlayStation, Xbox, all that stuff.
Yes.
So, I feel like Eurogamer's just the best for the general thing. It's certainly not Kotaku.
Oh yeah, certainly. I've stopped following them a long time ago.
Stopped following them ages ago. Jesus.
Good Lord!
Be a whole separate podcast to why we hate Kotaku.
I've not even seen the articles yet, but I think that I can already predict that they made like
there's going to be 3 on why it sucks, and like 3 on why it's good, and they're just going to hop on whatever bandwagon they want. And like a top 10 list of things we know about the Nintendo Switch, probably.
Even though there's probably like 5.
Yeah, the stuff like that. But I'm not surprised people with Twitter are about the same. I feel like people, again, are just making assumptions and taking them as exact fact.
Yeah, agreed. Just it didn't come unexpected. It didn't come unexpected, but yeah, I'm still nevertheless disappointed. And just, I swear to God, just gamers find new ways just to annoy me every year. And we're starting 2025, and this is one of them.
There's many disappointments of 2025 already, and we're 3 weeks in.
Yeah,
and this is one of them. Not the Nintendo Switch 2, but people's reaction to the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yes, just people, and this is the thing as well with them saying that Nintendo aren't innovating anymore. Whereas at the same time, if they did radically change the design of the Switch, they would fucking hate it.
Yeah, they would lose their minds.
They would.
They'll complain if you radically change the design, then suddenly it's not backwards compatible anymore, and then you're going to complain about that. But you're already complaining about it, even though it is backwards compatible. So they just can't win. Poor Nintendo.
No, they can't. They can't win. I've also seen them
complain about what you like. That Nintendo's legit, like their stance on emulation and stuff, and taking down fan copies of things. Like, I hate them for that. I hate their pricing. Those are legitimate comments that are justified with Nintendo. Complaining about the lack of innovation when we don't know anything about it is stupid.
And on top of the lack of innovation complaint, I've also seen plenty of people like talking about how the Nintendo Switch 2 doesn't have its own gimmick or whatever, which is like, again, we've barely seen anything about it. That's one thing. But also, why does the Switch 2 need another gimmick? We don't. We love the Switch. That's why we wanted a second one. It's called the Switch 2 for a reason. Just it's like basically taking the foundation of the Switch 1 and improving it. That we don't need another gimmick. That's one of the reasons why the Wii U failed. Granted, the Switch 1 could have been a risk in of itself, but it's a risk that paid off. Yeah, and it's very silly. Yeah, and also, there maybe is a gimmick with the mouse thing. Maybe. Who knows? We cannot stress this enough. We don't know. We just don't know. So quit your whining. You were also talking to us earlier about how like some people were wanting like a dual screen setup or something. Oh yeah, I see a lot. People complaining it doesn't have like a dual screen because they wanted DS emulation. And but they didn't want just DS emulation on the one screen.
They want DS emulation properly with a 2-screen setup.
No.
You want a flip screen on the Switch? Do you know how much weight that would have? How much bulk? How pointless it would be.
That's a very big portable console at that point.
It's a very big portable console. And you're just asking for a very, very big DS at that point. It's just so silly. I don't get what people are on.
No, they want their cake and eat it too.
I know. It's no matter what they do, Nintendo's not going to be able to make everybody happy. But this is just silly. I know there's we should say we know there's lots of people who are excited for it.
Yes.
Just like we are excited for it. We're very, very excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah, buying a day one.
Yeah, probably going to buy it day one. We're big Nintendo fans. We've been Nintendo fans since we were kids,
and we do recognize some of Nintendo's faults, like Diana was talking about the pricing of their games and re-releases earlier,
and emulation, their stance on emulation and stuff, or what they did to like AM2R and what they do to other games like AM2R.
That's crap.
That is absolute bullshit. Feel free to complain about that with Nintendo. Not this. This is just silly.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
People also, pretending
something we didn't cover while we were talking about features, or potential features or changes. There is a mysterious new button.
There is. I'm just looking at it now.
That could be innovative. We don't know. We don't know what it does. It's a mysterious new button. A great big threatening button.
It's the IR sensor, maybe, just in a weird place.
I wouldn't. Yeah, no. That wouldn't be it. But what is it? What's it for? We don't know. So maybe that's innovative because it's not the screenshot button because it's still on the left.
Yeah.
So what does that button do? We don't know yet. It could be for something innovative. We don't know. Or maybe it is just a second screenshot button.
Maybe. I forgot to mention this as well, or maybe I was saving it for later. But yeah, I saw some people already complaining as well that there's going to be like Joy-Con stick drift.
I saw people saying, will there be? Not saying there will be.
Ah, right. I might be misreading that then.
Because the assumption that's come from this as well is these colorful surrounds on the analog sticks. Yep. That is presumably to fight the stick drift. Because what causes stick drift is often dust and grime gets down underneath the joystick and into the mechanism. And that causes the drift. Which I know that's how it works with the PlayStation 5 controller. I'm not sure if that's how that works with the Joy-Cons or an Xbox controller. So the assumption is these surrounds cut down on the dust and therefore will reduce the chance of Joy-Con drift. So what I've seen is a lot of people complaining, will it have it? Not complaining, but asking the question of will it have the problem still, or not necessarily saying there's going to be stick drift. Because that would be insane.
That would be.
I'm sure there's probably been somebody say that, but that maybe that's just a Twitter thing because I haven't seen it yet.
Possibly, just people pretending they know their techniques.
Yeah.
I
know, I'm not 100% sure that's how the stick works on the Joy-Con because it's a very different design to how it is on like the PS5 controller, and I know for sure that's how the PS5 one is because I've fixed stick drift on a PS5 controller. I believe the only way to fix the stick drift on a Joy-Con is to replace the Joy-Con's stick. Like you can just change the module out. They made it very modular to make it easy to replace. So if there happened to actually be a way to fix that, I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is a dust and grime issue, but we'll see.
Yes. Only time will tell. I doubt Nintendo themselves are going to be like, oh yeah, we've
purposely left it in.
Yeah, we left the Joy-Con stick drift.
It's a very important feature of the Nintendo Switch.
It's a Nintendo Switch staple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So yes. We've let out our rage now. So as we come up to the last couple topics, we'll start with this one. So, what possible games would we want to see come out? Like any predicted launch titles or games we want to see for the Switch 2?
There's one obvious predicted launch title.
Yes,
it's in the trailer.
Yes. Oh, yes. The new Mario Kart.
Yes.
Presumably Mario Kart 9.
Yes. Well, it's pretty obviously going to be Mario Kart 9. The kart designs are completely different. Like
Yes.
Mario and Luigi alone, we can see is riding in a completely different cart. The track is an entirely new track that is not any part of past or current or any DLC in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So we're finally getting a Mario Kart 9. Not sure that I don't know, again, this going back to our rant about complaining about people complaining that we needed a new Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a fantastic game, and they just released a crap ton of tracks in DLC. To the point that I don't know that we need. It's much like Smash Ultimate. I don't know where you go with it. I just don't know what you do with it anymore, but it is a staple, and I know a lot of people wanted it, so it is good to see. And then there's the big draw that everybody seems to have noticed. There's more than 12 people on that road.
There is.
So, and on one of the shots with a grid, there are 24 slots on the grid. So, the assumption is with this, it is a 24-man Mario Kart.
My lord.
Which would be pretty cool. That would make it, I feel like, if you're gonna make a change to make it worth upgrading from 8, having 24 people to add to the chaos does sound pretty fun.
Yes.
So I can see why people would be excited about that, and why it's a prediction that I say prediction, it's pretty clear that there is going to be 24 players, or it may be just for the trailer they shoved every character in the game there. Who knows? But the assumption there is finally more than 12 people in Mario Kart. As if people were demanding it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I'm just picturing, imagine like Baby Park.
Oh,
with
no.
24 people.
No.
I want to see it. Baby Park better be there.
I'm guessing they added the extra players because of the trend of battle royale games or something. I'm not sure.
No, I would assume it's the question of where do you go?
Yeah.
From Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the best Mario Kart so far.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anything to add to it to make it better other than the only thing you could do is have more players.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's necessarily about Battle Royale. I think it's more just there wasn't a lot else they could do.
Well, no, I don't mean like Mario Kart would literally just become a battle royale. I just mean like it's just sort of following that trend of like that started with Fortnite and Fall Guys. Yeah, just having many players like compete at once. And they probably could make a battle royale mode with the battle mode, like with the 3 balloons and such.
It could work.
Yeah, they probably could do something like that. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, so like we talked about it as well earlier. But yeah, for predicted launch titles, I think this is finally going to be the time where we get Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. They've been holding
as a launch title.
Maybe, I don't know. Certainly, like early in the Switch 2's life cycle. I don't know. Maybe not necessarily a launch title, but certainly early on, because like they have to have had it done at some point. Like that, I like. There's no way they haven't seen all the comments of people wanting it. That would make them so much money. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why they haven't done it yet, and I don't know why they released Skyward Sword HD and not the others, because Skyward Sword HD runs really freaking well, even on the Switch 1. It's at like 1080p 60 frames a second. It looks amazing. I don't know why they didn't do it for the Switch 1, but if you are going to do it late, just do it for the Switch 2 at this point. Just doesn't even matter anymore. Just do it for the Switch 2.
Yeah. No, I don't see it being a launch title because it would be a bit silly of come buy our brand new console to play this old game.
Yeah.
Would be a bit counterintuitive, but I could see maybe the first direct after it comes out, they announce it.
Yeah.
I think more likely is we're probably going to see something like a Splatoon 4.
Maybe.
Or maybe some brand new IP, maybe a new Mario.
A new ARMS.
Yeah, maybe I could see there being maybe like a Mario Odyssey 2 type deal.
Maybe.
Or Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, I was going to mention Metroid Prime 4.
It needs to be one of their flagship titles.
Yeah.
Or their flagship franchises, I should say. We've got Mario Kart, so that's kind of Mario already covered.
Yeah.
But what we could do with is one of their other big names, and it's too recent since Tears of the Kingdom, so I don't think it'll be Zelda. We have that Zelda, whatever.
Echoes of Wisdom.
Echoes of Wisdom. I was going to say Wanda Gamelon. No.
Basically
Absolutely not.
She does use a wand.
Oh. I might be onto something. It's actually just a
there we
remake.
go. There's the launch title. The CDI trilogy re-released.
Yeah, there we go.
There
That
we
would
go.
get people piling in. But like, I feel like there's got to be a big launch title, and I feel like Metroid maybe.
Yeah, and it's coming out this year as well.
I don't know that many people are that into Metroid, but
No, it's one of their
not
lesser.
enough. I know that's very
series, yeah.
popular, but not enough to get people running to buy the console. For that, you need Zelda, or you need Mario.
Yeah.
I think realistic, or Splatoon, because Splatoon is extremely big in Japan.
A new F-Zero.
A new F-Zero. F-Switch. Oh, well, 2 launch titles and they're both racing games would be a bit silly.
Yes, I suppose so.
I don't know, maybe a Luigi's Mansion 4, or, well, more realistically, probably a Fire Emblem. Given how much they've been pumping out Fire Emblems.
Sakurai's probably going to be like just smashing his head having to think of a new Smash Brothers.
Yeah, or clearing his head on a Kirby. Who knows? I'd be interested to see what launch title there is, because when the Switch first came out, it was pretty much Bomberman and
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild and Bomberman. I think was the 2 launch titles.
There was Blaster Master Zero. I don't remember that much. Yeah.
Fast RMX.
Yeah.
Was a launch title.
Yeah.
So there's like 3 or 4 games on launch, I think, off the top of my head.
There was that Street Fighter 2 game. I can't remember which one it was.
Was that a launch title?
Like the New Fighters or something? Yeah, it was. Or at least really early on. I'm pretty sure it was a launch title.
I'm talking like day one.
No, I know. I'm just thinking that I'm pretty sure that was a launch title. That Street Fighter one. But yeah, Breath of the Wild was like the big one anyway.
Yeah, I think if Mario Kart 9 isn't a launch title, they need to have something else, or maybe that and something else. But I don't know, Mario Kart 9 would probably be a big enough draw in itself, to be fair.
Breath of the Wild as a launch title has reminded me, though, and I completely forgot about this during our talk about specs, the storage space, because when the first Switch came out, Breath of the Wild pretty much took up the entire internal storage on the Switch 1, if you bought it digitally. So what are they going to do in regards to the storage space for the Switch 2, you reckon?
Well, who knows? Yeah. We can't see whether or not there's an SD card slot or anything.
No, not really. But even with the Switch 1, they hid it underneath the kickstand.
I'm just trying to go through the video and see if we can spot it under the dock. Actually, no, there is a slot. You can see it when the dock.
Oh, nice.
When the stand comes out, it looks like there is an SD card slot, so it looks like it's going to be the same issue.
Bummer.
Yeah, same problem, I think, is what's going to happen. I do like another thing we kind of didn't touch on, the USB port and the C port in the top as well as the bottom. There's 2 ports. I love that. That is so much better, because there's always crap when you're trying to play while it's charging that you got the cable poking out below, and having it at the top means you can be a lot more comfortable. You can sit in bed and play a hell of a lot more comfortable.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, than having it resting on what often would happen with me is I've got you had with the cable resting on your stomach or your chest or whatever while you're playing, and that feels like you're putting a bit of too much pressure on the port and could break it by accident or something. I don't know if it's just me, but I like the top USB-C port a lot. That's really good. Good move.
Excellent. But yeah, going back to the predicted launch titles, Metroid Prime 4 would be a pretty big one. I know our dad wants Pushmo.
Pushmo.
He's a very big Pushmo fan.
A very big Pushmo fan. Yes.
Never
gonna happen.
A lot of people listening, probably wondering what the hell that even is.
Great little puzzle game with quick blocks.
It's a great little puzzle game made by Intelligent Systems of Paper Mario and Fire Emblem fame. Really needs more love, and I really hope it comes back soon.
A very cute mascot.
Yes. Mallow.
Yeah, Mallow, who is just this big sumo-looking dude.
Yeah.
And he just kind of waddles wherever he goes. He's great.
He has a spirit in Smash Brothers. Check him out.
Oh, yes, he's adorable.
I would also want to see Zack and Wiki come back in some form or
Oh,
fashion.
we're never getting Zack and Wiki. Just
a man
give up
can
hope,
dream.
man. No.
A man can dream. Damn it! Even just an
that's a
HD
fool's
version.
dream right there. You ain't ever. We're never gonna get Zack and Wiki 2.
No.
Nobody bought it in the first place.
Man.
Yeah, as much as we love Zack and Wiki, it's just not happening.
But yeah, I'm actually kind of struggling to think of any more sort of like new IPs or new games I would want to see apart from, you know, HD re-releases of the two Zeldas, which, you know, we were complaining a little bit about the how many remasters and remakes are coming out lately. But Zelda would be a very big one. That's a very big one I would want.
I just don't see it being a launch title.
Yeah.
It's not. It wouldn't be a big draw. I think of it. Like I said, it's like come play this game that you could have already played on a different console. Like, you know, why would I buy a brand new console to play an old game?
Yeah.
Why am I paying 350? Let's say it's 350 bucks. Why am I paying 350 bucks? I better have something brand new and fun.
I guess
Mario
so.
Kart 9.
But yeah,
Mario Kart 9 would sell me very well.
Yeah, Mario Kart 9.
And Mario Odyssey 2.
Yeah, Mario Kart 9, Mario Odyssey 2, and Metroid Prime 4, I think, are probably the more realistic options to choose from.
Or maybe not necessarily Mario Odyssey 2, but a new Mario.
Yeah,
I would hope a new 3D Mario, because we
Yeah.
haven't had one since Odyssey.
It would be nice.
And we did have Mario Wonder, which was an amazing game, but that was a 2D Mario, so we need 3D Mario.
Yeah, it's been a while. Or a re-release of Galaxy 2, because we didn't have that.
Again, a remaster. Stop it.
Yeah, I know it's a remaster, but
with
still.
the remasters, man.
Galaxy 2 is good, though.
There's other games.
There are other games, but yes, yeah, Metroid Prime 4 and a new 3D Mario, that would be nice. And yes, of course I'm going to get Mario Kart 9 as well.
My big question is, will Fire Emblem Warriors run even better? Will I be able to load more than like 2 people on a screen in portable mode?
Yes. Will it finally not be so dark?
Yes. If only it weren't so dark.
For the 3 Fire Emblem Warriors fans out there, that's for you.
You're out there. Wow. I am all the Fire Emblem Warriors fans. This is the original, not Three Hopes.
Yes.
Which I did not care for.
Yes.
But yeah, I just don't see it. I think it's realistically going to be a Mario. It's going to be Mario Kart for sure. It'd be crazy for them not to make that a launch title, especially because they've now shown it in a trailer. But I also think they need something else, and I could see it being like a Splatoon 4.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it can be another Mario. If you have 2 Mario things and somebody doesn't like Mario, then that's somebody completely not going to buy a Switch until later, which goes against the idea of them wanting to incentivize a launch purchase.
I suppose.
So I think there needs to be something else, which I could see being Splatoon 4. Or something along those lines. A new Smash Brothers. I don't know.
Again, just
poor Sakurai.
Yeah, poor Sakurai, just like knocking on his doorstep.
He's already on IV.
Yeah,
it's just doesn't sleep. They inject coffee into him.
He's just turned the table over at his house, like gun at the ready. Just like you
want
ain't
me
coming
in. I'm not doing it again.
I'm not doing anymore.
I said last time was the last time.
So no, Mr. Sakurai, we want you to do a new Kirby. Oh, that's all right. Haha. No, it's for a new Smash Brothers.
Grab
him.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Yet again, speculation.
Yes. Right. So that's our launch titles there that we are hopefully going to get as predicted. So I guess the last topic we should probably discuss is the actual release date of the Switch 2. They just only said it was 2025 at the end of the trailer, but no month. So I reckon, it's pretty much going to be summertime, isn't it? Would you agree with that?
I would. My guess is June or July.
June or July. Okay.
I reckon because it'll be in the new quarter, right around when people are like, let's say it's like this one, like school kids I'd say if I was like trying to market to a family or like school children, you have to entertain your kid, right? And if your kid is gonna want whatever the fresh new console is while they're sat at home and got nothing to do or want or need stuff to do.
Yeah.
So if you release it around then it's right around summertime for schools and stuff, and therefore you might be able to get more parents to buy it for their kids on launch, just to shut them up for the summer, so they don't have to like keep on them. Maybe that could just, I don't know if I'm pulling that out my ass or not. What about you?
Yeah, I would probably say mostly the same. Just June, July, and for the exact reason that the new kid, the kiddies need something to do over the break, and something also easily affordable for the most part and catered towards kids because we don't really have that many games or systems in the way for children as well, which doesn't help.
Pretty much the Switch.
Pretty much the Switch, yeah. And
I think as well there's if the direct is in April,
yeah,
you've then got that's 3 months that gives warning to people, and pre-orders can go in for one thing, but also people can then save over the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Because, let's say they do the direct and then they say, all right, it's coming out in next week. Suddenly I'm like, oh crap, I ain't got $350 to spend on this thing. I ain't buying it day one. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's like June or July, let's say July, and the direct is in April and they say it's coming out in July, I'm going to be like, oh, well, if I put away £110 a month, I can probably manage that and work my way up to have the money for the Switch on release, or at least very close to release. Or, you can start to save, I feel like, or get pre-orders in kind of ahead, like with enough time for people to actually get the money together to buy the thing.
Yeah.
Again, purely pulling that out my ass, I'm sure. I don't know if that's how people would think of it, but that's how I would think of it. I would look at it and go, can I actually save up some money in that time? Or maybe they'll be like, oh, that gives me time to sell this thing or sell my old Switch and get the new one and all that stuff.
Yeah. And I'll certainly be buying this day one. And with all that, I guess we can sum up our final thoughts. I will start and then we'll go to Diana. I am definitely going to be buying this. I think I'm already excited for it. I mean, whether or not the console itself is quote unquote innovative or not, I was gonna end up getting this anyway because it's a more powerful version of a console that I already own and something that's desperately needed an upgrade for a long time, at least throughout like half a decade or so. And I'm glad it's finally here. It took a long time, but we're finally here, and I look forward to trying it out. I'm certainly a lot more impressed with it already than I was with the PS5 Pro in its presentation, where you basically had to squint to see the difference. And they were also showing it on a poor YouTube quality, so you couldn't even really tell that much, like where the background characters are a little more focused in or whatever. Whereas Nintendo's not really all about that. They're just about, doing their own thing and making that thing better, which I think is what the Switch 2 does. And yeah, we went on a complete rant about the public reaction and everything. And I think people are being way too critical, way too harsh on it, far too early. I think we just need to wait for the thing to come out. But right now, I am already intrigued, at the very least, to give it a go and try it. What about yourself?
I'm about the same. I'm very excited for it. I'm curious to see what the actual specs are and what changes are actually the exact changes are between the thing. What that mysterious new button does. And there's a great big threatening button I want to push.
What are you?
Yeah, what are you? I like a lot of the changes. I'm a little unsure about some of the other changes. I hope there's new colors that actually make the grips themselves colorful. That's my main complaint. It's the aesthetics are a bit for me, and don't feel very Nintendo-y. But that is pretty much my one chief complaint. I like the bigger screen. I like the bigger Joy-Cons, so they're easier on the hands. The new buttons for the bumpers when you've got it on its side is very lovely, and I like the idea of this little presumably dust cover thing. That's nice, but I'm just kind of curious and hopeful, and unlike a lot of people online, I actually think it'll be pretty good. And I'll probably hope to buy it day one, but I dare say I won't have the money for it. I hope to be able to get it day one.
I probably won't. I shouldn't buy it, but I'm going to anyway because need to keep updated.
If I were to sell my old Switch and maybe a couple other bits, I could probably scrape some money together for it. Depending on what the launch titles is. If Mario Kart 9 is in fact a launch title, probably 100% I'll do whatever I can to get that. I am a bit nervous on price. I don't quite know how they're going to price this. I would hope 350 or down, which would be nice. And I hope the games are not too high a price to match. That's my main issue, because right now they're what, 50 a pop? £50 a pop for a Nintendo game?
Something, yeah. 50 to 60
I could
pounds, yeah.
very, very easily see it going to 60, 70. Knowing Nintendo and their pricing. So I really hope the game price does not shoot up to match a higher cost console. Because then suddenly it's not 350 quid. Let's say it's 350 quid. It wouldn't just be 350 quid. It would be suddenly 420 quid if it was $70 for the game, or 410 pounds if it was 60. So I'm really hoping that just the price becomes reasonable, and I'm cautiously optimistic, shall we say, for the console itself.
Right. Thank you very much. And with all that said and done, I think we have pretty much talked about everything that's worth talking about for the Switch 2 in regards to early reactions and thoughts and such. And thank you all, everybody, for listening in. And thank you to Diana as well for joining me. And we will hopefully see you again for another Trash or Treasure podcast. Take care, everybody.
Bye.